Yeah, I mean, that's obviously, I mean, there's when you don't score right away, everybody says, let's get off to a fast start. But I think the important thing is every time we go on the field, we're charged with scoring, except for the last drive when we were in 4 minute. I think we had 8 drives and we scored on 3 of them until the ninth drive, which, in that situation, you'd love to score if you could, but we were going to just try to hammer it out and try to end the game with the ball. So, yeah, I mean, we put together plays early in the game to try to get down the field, and then when we get in the red zone, execute plays that get you points. So that's always what you're looking to do. And then each situation as it comes up, you want to win it. Before the half, if you're in 2 minutes, you want to win it. The end of the game, if you're ahead, you want to finish the game with the ball. If you're behind, you want to try to drive down and score. So that's sort of how it all plays out. And, each week you guys all try to predict how it's going to play out, and it doesn't always play out that way.
But Quinn Meinerz has been in their last 2.5 games. What's just been kind of your impression of the progress that he's making?
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented player with a bright future. I think the thing I like about him is he's excitable. He plays hard. He's very physical. He shows up in the run game. But when I watch him work out here in practice and see him function in the meetings, he's really into it. And he's going to be a really fine player. And the more he plays, the better he's going to get. And we haven't had the luxury of 5 guys all playing together. We've been bouncing around all year. It doesn't get discussed much. And so he's one of those guys in there bouncing around trying to execute at a high level. And I think he's done a nice job.
Teddy had 5 touchdown runs last year in Carolina, and of course he had that scramble for a touchdown on Sunday. In the red zone, how much can that kind of open some things up if opponents have to take seriously the threat of him scrambling for the score?
Yeah, I mean, I think he does do a good job when he's, a play is called or a pass is called and things open up. In the red zone, you're always attacking extremes, and if they think you're going to throw the ball and you cross them up and run it, or they think you're going to throw the ball and then they're all backed off covering all the routes, then it opens things up. We ran the ball for a touchdown on 3rd down, right, where they thought we were going to pass it, and you can see how that looked really nice. If they thought we were going to run it, it would have been a tougher fight. And the same thing applies for quarterbacks that scramble. Each week we look at all the red zone touchdowns, and there's a whole heck of a lot of them where a pass is called. You can't even recognize the route concept, and there's 7 guys back there covering the eligibles, and then the rush kind of gets a little out of whack, and then the quarterback runs for it. That happens frequently.
Back to the O-line, how do you think Mike Munchak has been able to kind of imprint his brand and keep that, like you said, all that fluctuation and a lot of young guys and keep that consistency up there?
Yeah, Mike's been an outstanding coach, and prior to that was a Hall of Fame player in this league, and he does an excellent job with those guys. And when they play well, you can blame it on coaching too, to some degree. I mean, we've got good players that do a nice job, but he and Coop and Chris, those guys do a good job with the O-line, and they respond to their coaching.
What did you see with the Chiefs' defense, how they've tightened up the last month or so?
Yeah, I think they've always been a good defense. They're playing the same way. There's some hallmarks. They get turnovers. Obviously, they do a good job against the run. Steve's going to pressure you in a lot of different ways. He starts with the fire zones where he brings, pressures to try to beat 6-man protection, but then he'll also full blitz you on all down and distance. So they have a really good player, and their scheme's coordinated well, and, they're finding their groove here.
Is there anything significant, though, they've changed in the past month and the beginning of the season?
Same players. They got some new players in and out. Number 95 in there really helps. I think, it comes back to when you have a really quality scheme and then you have really talented players, then you got something, and I think that's what it is.
What was the key on 3rd down, 8 for 11? And also, do you as an OC have to fight urgency against the Chiefs specifically, given how prolific their offense has been over the last few years?
Well, our 3rd down, the first part of your question, I think, we executed well. We had some shorter distance 3rd downs, which for the guys that crunch the numbers, it should be easier to make a shorter distance, you know, which was good. And so we stayed out of some of those longer ones, which were a struggle early in the year. No, but I think our guys understood the plan, you know, just dialed them up a play, and they did a good job executing it. And then the second part, I already forgot.
As an OC fight urgency when you're facing a team like the Chiefs, knowing they can fall out of bed and put up 30 on a lot of nights?
No, I think I'm always urgent. You know, I think, as I mentioned earlier, we're charged every time we take the field with scoring touchdowns, and you like to do it early in the game if you can.
Is there something that Andy does to be so good after the bye? You were a part of that
Yeah.
in Philadelphia for a while.
I was a part of it for 10 years. I don't know. You know, when you have really good players and a good scheme, maybe they just get freshened up. I don't know. And come back with, you know, the idea that we got this much left in the season and we roll, you know. Obviously, he's a fine coach. He was, you know, one of my initial mentors in this league. We're still great friends. And so I watched it firsthand, you know, and I guess I don't know what the magic is. They're a very well-coached team. They got really good players. And maybe they just get a little rest and get ready to roll. And maybe that's the formula.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys.